So once the prisoners were in their cells, the guards read out the prison rules, which was devised by the guards and the warden, and the prisoners were expected to memorize these rules. The prisoners were only addressed through their ID numbers. Initially, the prisoners were allowed three basic meals, allowed three supervised toilet visits, and given 2 hours for privileges like writing letters and reading. The prisoners had to do work assignments to earn the $15 pay per day that they were promised at the beginning of the study. 3 times a day, the prisoners were lined up for a count to check if all the prisoners were present and to check if they had memorized their ID numbers and the prison rules. Overall, this study found that both the guards and the prisoners became increasingly negative about the situation and their personal emotional state. Also, the interactions between the guards and prisoners tended to be negative and hostile. After a point, prisoners became passive and guards became more active. Prisoners reported they had thoughts of harming others as the simulation progressed. 5 prisoners had to be released because of extreme emotional depression, which included crying, rage, high anxiety, and the development of a psychosomatic rash. Only 2 prisoners were not willing to give up their $15 pay to be released. The simulation had to be terminated on day 6. The prisoners were happy about this, but the guards were enjoying the extreme control and did not want to give it up. The self evaluations conducted later revealed that all participants began to internalize the situation.
So, is it a good study? The ethical quality of this experiment is highly questionable. It holds a very low grade in terms of fulfilling ethical criteria at this moment in time. At that time, it was considered normal because there were no major laws. However, if we shed light into the experiment with laws that are existing now, the experiment starts to draw some red flags. First of all, when some subjects requested to leave the investigation, their request should have been granted. Their consent form was broken because they were physically harmed, although they were confirmed that this would not happen. This breaches upon participant protection, where the subjects were clearly abused. Philip Zimbardo himself has said that
The participants did suffer considerable anguish, and the experiment resulted in such extreme stress and emotional turmoil that 5 of the sample of initially healthy young prisoners had to be released early.
However, it showed us the power of humanity when placed in certain social roles. The guards that were chosen for the experiment were originally just normal middle class men on their way to college.
However, the methodology of the study has also been questioned. For example, the research team did not take the full time to review all the potential risks that could or might have occurred beforehand, which could have helped to avoid many problems. Participants were aware that they were being observed by the team through hidden cameras, which could have made them not act as naturally as they would have otherwise and instead portrayed socially desirable behaviors. This reduces the validity of the findings of this experiment.